We are now in Game 6 of the Myth World Cup Finals 2007. We got team name changers fighting in Peacocks. Looking at the chat, Rabikin starts the game complaining that someone joined him, asking what units to get. Not a great sign. At this point, the score of this match is 3-2 in favor of the name changers. Score is 26-18. So, effectively, to keep this close with the match going, Peacocks either needs to win or tie. They really need to win. I think if they lose, even if it's close, the point differential is going to be such that a Game 7 win might not catch them back up from a points perspective. So in any event, I think the big focus for them is to win here. The bigger the win, the better. Whereas 12 tasks, Team Name Changers has a chance to actually clinch this. So in the game, we've got Ska captaining, we've got Nineball, Shyster, Donsky, Lude, CU, and Fire. On the Peacock side, we've got Rabikin, Cordy, Paris, CW, Thierry, Stormrider, Ars, and Grim. I'm guessing Cordy or Paris sits. If I had to guess, that's a full 8. So we will see who sits. From a trade perspective, so no archers. We've got 6 dwarves. We've got spider queens, which are, I think, spiders that pus. I'm not entirely sure. A whole bunch of wars and some thrall. If we go over to the Peacock side, they've got 0 dwarves, a whole bunch of thrall, and 8 archers. So, interesting trades. I kind of think archers are useless on this map. We got some archers in the TFFA, Blade and I, and they were okay, but I was thinking to myself that was only because it was King of the Hill and you had something to shoot at. Otherwise, units can hide behind any of these houses, which makes it seem like archers are probably not the best choice. Okay, so these spider queens are extremely fast, which is, I think, probably, there's all these jokes about them being overpowered. They've scouted here. Okay. Was right about the pus. So you've got, from unit perspective, you have Thierry and Rabikin controlling the, OP Spider Queen units. Not doing a great job. Ska and Shyster are flanking around them. So it's really not a shadow, per se. If I speed this up, not a lot happening, just some back and forth harassment. Both teams are sort of congregating in the village mid here. We did get an interesting double up there. So from a health percentage on the Spider Queen side, small health advantage for Peacocks, but arguably not likely enough to make a huge difference. Going on here, okay, we did get CU making a mistake here, getting his dwarf caught out. Questionable play by Thierry. They're not actually killing that, but he is able to come back in and finish it off. Okay, Thierry being quite aggressive, manages to get Fire to blow up one of their own dwarves. So again, fast forwarding. So at this point, 12 tasks have a lead, but still a couple dwarves alive. I think, just from, my limited experience with this map, I'd rather be in the position of Peacocks here, because they got a small health advantage on their Spider Queens. They've taken out a couple of dwarfs, and they do have a lot of melee, so it should be okay for them. If this drags out to late, they can get some tags. But a lot of these maps have not played out well into the late game. So it's a question of, are they going to be able to adapt at a map where, if you believe their pregame chat, they don't have a ton of experience. Okay, so that's big. Thierry just loses one of the Spider Queens. Not a great sign. Pretty boring matchup, to be honest. It's just a bunch of Spider Queens running around and other people trying not to die. Another dwarf gets stunned. Some fire arrows come in. Unfortunately, they don't hit. I'd say, you know, after that Spider Queen died, on the side of Peacocks, the momentum does shift. These units seem incredibly overpowered. So at this point, having 3 alive versus 2 is going to be an advantage on the name changer side. Still a lot of melee, so it is fortunate. Right now, it is interesting. Peacocks almost gets flagged. They almost walk up this mid flag, and they've given up every other flag. So they're incredibly bottled up. I think this is probably a mistake. But then again, the archers, there's not a whole lot they can do. Okay, risky play here from Ravikin. He does manage to back that out. The dwarf is almost taken out, but manages to live for now. And yeah, manages to back all the way out. So again, more Spider Queen exchanges. Just fast forwarding, 87%, so dead even here. But again, I think in Peacocks they put themselves in a bad situation. You have so much crammed in this middle area. They're totally surrounded. You've got these super fast spiders. You've lost one of your own spiders. We've got satchels on the ground. Still 6 minutes left, but they need to make a decision. Like, how are you going to break out of this? The dwarves are able to hide. Like, if anything, I think the call right now would be to push out, here to the east, or to focus down on Fire. Fire's the only one who doesn't have a dwarf. So I think from an optimal call, that would probably be your best bet. But you've got to get out of here. You maybe could stall for another 2 minutes. But at that point, if you're not spread out and tagging, it's not good. So looks like 12 Task did just lose a spider. So that does, sort of start to even things out. We've got Thrall looking to spread out. It does look like that spider was in trade, so not the worst of it. The Peacock's slight lead. Still don't love their positioning. These Thrall are quite slow. So, they're not going to be doing a great job tagging. They're at least trying to spread out. For the most part, looks like Chickenmire is out of sync, which can't help. But we'll see how this plays out. Paris is now pushing CU here. It's basically 3 bows versus 1 dwarf. Debate that is raging as much in the year 2020 as apparently was in 2007. CU can die slowly here. If Paris tries to get too aggressive, he can attack him. You could also pinch this with 9 if you really wanted to rush something, but I think 9 would rather take out Ravikin's archers. Over here, you've got an unfortunate situation where Stormrider is all alone with a bunch of Thrall, and you've got 2 super-powered Spider Queens that are just absolutely taking everything out. So, not necessarily his fault. I think, he's in a bad position here, but with Thrall, it's not as if you're going to be able to go get in a more useful situation. So percents now, 77% for Ska's team, 68%. I still argue 12 Task is in a better position. A lot of these Thrall, again, versus these spiders are not going to be, very effective. So, trying to reinforce Paris here. Paris has got himself in a bad spot. So CU really baited him there. He basically backed up slowly. Paris followed, eventually got pinched. And now it's 42% to 70. So game is basically over. And at this point, based on the score, which is 26-18 going into the match, this thing's going to go into sudden death. So, interesting thought experiment about this Myth World Cup. The game, or the series, that 12 Task lost to ABS in one of the DE rounds. They actually won in games and lost in points, I think. I looked at the site today. I'm pretty sure that I remember that that's an accurate statement. So, had they been able to pull that off, this convincing win would have basically, it would be over. They'd be Myth World Cup champions. But because they lost, they're entering as the bottom bracket champion. Now that they've won the series, the real work is still ahead of them. This is going to go to sudden death. Sudden death in Myth World Cup is an interesting concept. It's the first to win 2 in a row. I always thought it was win by 2 until I experienced, winning 1 and then losing 2 in a row and having the whole thing be over. So it is just who wins 2 in a row first. Both teams can pick maps. I think the rule is any map that's been played in the tournament. So we'll see now. Again, obviously, I think the theme throughout wasn't as apparent in this map. This map just looked like MP didn't really know how to play with Spider Queens very well. But throughout, I think the theme of the first 7 or 6 games here was that SKA had a better read, along with the help. I know they always strategize as a team, but they had better strategies. MP played very reactively. It was clear they didn't prepare anything super special. And honestly, in a lot of these, they just got run over. This is a 53% win. From a damage perspective, Donsky, second game in a row, playing super well. 13-1 ratios, over 100 damage. That's pretty great. Nothing, super impressive or unimpressive on the MP side. Storm Rider, unfortunate with the 1 in 19. But, when you've got 19 Thrall and you've got 2 spiders on your tail, there's not a lot you can do. So with that, next we'll move on to sudden death.